Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we're playing
Captain,
Ghost Signal,
I can't quite
a
calculate
Stellaris
what
game
just occurred,
VR,
but
a
the
game that
engine
was
we
just
from before
released
just
on
hit
the
us
Steam
again.
store today, October 5th,
Negative.
2023.
Data suggests it was the
However, I'm
same
actually
exact
showing
moment,
you the
like we were never hit
Quest
in the first
standalone
place.
version, which released some time ago. And I now regret my purchase. I didn't know this game was coming
Impossible
to
to
PC
determine.
VR, otherwise I
Setting
would have
coordinates
waited.
for the mystery
Now,
signal.
this game normally retails for
Hostile
$20,
ships are
but
incoming.
if you own the original Stellaris, you actually get a 20% discount. And some of you may be wondering what's different between the PC VR version and the Quest standalone version. Well, the answer is that the PC VR version has increased texture resolution, improved effects, and runs at the native resolution of the VR headset that is being used. If you are a Stellaris fan, keep in mind this is not developed by Paradox Interactive. It's actually Fast Travel Games in conjunction with Windswept Interactive. And the developers describe this game as an action rogue-lite set in the Stellaris universe. Now, they don't use the word strategy, which is kind of weird. I guess they don't want people to confuse this for being like Stellaris, because it's not. But I do think there is an element of strategy that's a core gameplay here. So I would say it's an action roguelite strategy game that's narrative driven. So each time that you die, you come back and you can upgrade your ship. And honestly, at the start, it can feel a little overwhelming just because you run into superior number of ships very early on in your run, and you feel like you just don't have enough firepower to take them all down. Now, obviously, you do need to get good at strategizing and planning your ship routes very quickly on the fly, which I still need to get used to. And I do want to make it clear that this is not a review. I maybe played the game for 1 or 2 hours at most, but I do think I got a good feel for the core gameplay loop, and this game is fun. I would say it's among the better VR action roguelites, but if you're not into strategy games, this game may not appeal to you because it does start off very slow and you do have to be very strategic in your gameplay. There is some RNG to the gameplay as well. You can run into some very bad encounters that you just have very little possibility of actually winning. On top of those chance encounters, which might be beneficial or detrimental, you'll also have opportunities to get upgrades or downgrades, and you just won't know which is which until you try it, and you may end up with your ship being severely hampered by this downgrade, and there's just no way to really progress, and you will die soon thereafter. You do collect resources after each run, and you'll be able to upgrade your ship. Obviously, with each upgrade, hopefully it makes your next run just that little bit easier. That hopefully helps you get a little bit farther in the game. And with each scenario being brand new, you'll get new situations, new scenarios that you haven't seen before, and that will keep the gameplay fresh. There are boss fights in this game. Even though my gameplay mostly shows fights against other spaceships, there's fights against aliens and all kinds of crazy encounters in this game. And I think that's just where this game really shines, is just the amount of encounters, the variety in the encounters, and just the strategy involved. Now, in my opinion, I think this game, where it really did improve on the formula, is that a lot of these games in VR have you moving the ship with your motion controller, so it tracks the movement of your motion controller. That's not what happens here. You guide the path that it's going towards, so you point towards the direction that you want it to go, and then it goes like in a straight line towards there, and then with the trigger press you can make it even go for a second different straight line pass, so kind of like a combo. And obviously with upgrades you can make it go faster, you can chain more of those paths to make it more strategic, but this keeps the game being very strategic. So instead of just being quick twitch movement of your hands and motion controllers in order to dodge enemies and whatnot, because you're guiding the path of the ship in lines by pointing, and with the ability to chain them to go faster, it makes it very strategic. You have to plan your routes well, in order to avoid enemy attacks, in order to get into better positions to attack. You have 3 different weapons. You have your normal cannon blast, your laser, and your missiles. And obviously they have different strengths and weaknesses and ranges. And obviously this can all change with upgrades as well. But all these different mechanics just keep the battles very interesting, because you really do have to think quickly on your toes. Where should I go? What's the best position for me to be at? And how do I attack enemies quickly? And you know, enemies have so many different things to them, there's no way I could possibly describe them all in this video. But I hope you're seeing from my gameplay here that I'm showing is that the big ships will spawn like little ships, or they'll shoot missiles at you, or different dangers, and then you just have to quickly process, okay, where is my priority? What do I attack first? So while you're deciding, you know, what's the best position for me to get into, you're also having to switch between your weapons. Your missiles are very limited, so you have to save those. And then the different upgrades change up how they behave. If you get enough upgrades, you can even get an auto fire. But then on top of that, you're also having to manually aim at the different enemies. Again, you're prioritizing, where am I firing? So this is all real-time strategy. You have to keep focus on where the enemies are at, where are the new enemies spawning from, what's the biggest danger, etc, etc. So the gameplay can get very hectic, and especially early on it does feel like you're overwhelmed, like your weapons just cannot destroy enemies fast enough. You can't process, you know, where to go fast enough. So this game definitely does take a while to get used to. However, it is a lot of fun. I normally am not a big fan of strategy games, and obviously this is more action oriented than the normal strategy game, but I think this game is almost perfect for anyone looking to get into the strategy genre, because I do think this is the type of game that maybe gets you more interested in just strategy games overall. Sort of a nice strategy game for a beginner that's more action oriented. Now obviously the visuals here are not the best we've ever seen in PC VR, but I think from a Quest standalone game that's been ported to PC VR, I think it looks good. I mean, I'm playing the Quest standalone version, I think it looks pretty good. So the increased textures, the increased resolution should really help out in PC VR. Plus, on the Quest version, I did notice some slight stuttering. I don't think you'll have that problem in PC VR at all. Now the sounds here I think are solid. I think they're what you would expect from this type of game. I think the standout here though is the musical soundtrack. Now I did lower the musical soundtrack volume due to copyright concerns, but I think you're still able to hear it, and you know, I did enjoy it. So in conclusion, I do think this is a standout VR game. I think it's one of the better strategy action roguelites out there. Now there's several games like this in PC VR, but I think as far as gameplay wise, this is the best that any developer has been able to put out in PC VR. And I think at the price, especially if you get the 20% off, I think it's a very good deal. There's a lot of replay value here. Each run does feel different. There's a lot here. Now, this does have some of the pitfalls that roguelites tend to have. This game can feel a bit grindy, especially at the start when you feel underpowered and you might be overwhelmed by the enemies. However, there's different difficulty levels. You can even change how much damage enemies do. There's so many options here to change the gameplay to suit your needs. So if you want it to be super casual and super chill, you can. And like I said, this is not a full review. This is early impressions, but the early impressions are very positive. I would say this is among the best, if not the best, of the VR action roguelike strategy games. And if I have to rate it, I would give it a very good 7.5 out of 10. But take my review score with a grain of salt. Like I said, I've only played 1 to 2 hours, 2 hours at the most. And this is early impressions. I could honestly raise my score if the replay value ends up being higher than even I think. I know there's different ships that you can play with after you beat the main game once, so I'm definitely looking forward to that, looking to what else this game has. But early on, the impressions are very positive, and I do recommend this game. I do think it's a good deal for the price. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. This has been my Let's Play early impressions for Ghost Signal, a Stellaris game. High recommendation from me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the video.